Living Corporate is brought to you by The Break Room. Have you ever felt burnt out, depressed, or otherwise exhausted by being one of the onlys at work? You know what I'm talking about. Hosted by Black psychologists, psychiatrists, and PhDs, The Break Room is a live weekly web show in the Living Corporate network that discusses mental health, wellness, and healing for Black folks at work. Name another weekly show explicitly focused on mental health, wellness, and healing for Black folks at work. I'll wait. This is why you got to check out The Break Room, airing every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on livingcorporate.tv.
What's going on, Living Corporate? It's Tristan, and I want to thank you for tapping back in with me as I provide some tips and advice for professionals. Today, I want to talk about using your real name on your resume. This week, I was inspired by a TikTok I saw floating around where a Black HR leader explained how HR professionals actually do judge Black candidates based on the names on their resume. She then goes on to encourage people with, and I quote, hood names to use their first initial and middle name if it happens to be, quoting her, less hood. This is a prime example of the statement, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. This lady seems to be in a position of authority based on her follow-up comment trying to explain this incredibly incensing video away. And instead of focusing on the people who perpetuate bias in the hiring process, she promotes whitewashing your resume. Now, let's be real here. As the lady stated, and based on the data, if your name is interpreted to be Black, it can and most likely will open you up to some form of bias throughout your job search. In a study titled Whitened Resumes, Race and Self-Presentation in the Labor Market, published in the Administrative Science Quarterly in 2016, 25% of Black candidates received callbacks from their whitened resumes, while only 10% got calls when they left ethnic details intact. Personally, I don't think that's enough to hide your name, and here's why. Your name is a part of you. If someone prefers the version of you that requires you to hide a piece of who you are, they don't want you to show up in that space as your full self. Often when working with clients, I find that they've hid so much of themselves throughout the job search, interview, and onboarding process that when they begin to feel comfortable and let their hair down a bit, they begin to receive pushback from their counterparts. They begin to feel as if they no longer belong in that environment, no matter how well they perform. So they are forced into the perpetual hell of code switching. But what happens when you're tired of code switching? Chaos often ensues in the workplace. So, now to my main point. This is a great opportunity for you as a job seeker to weed out companies who more than likely do not want you to bring your whole self to work. Does that mean you could potentially lose out on some opportunities? The unfortunate reality is, yes, that's more than likely an outcome. But you have to ask yourself, is that actually a workplace I want to be in and can ultimately thrive in? Obviously, this is a deeply personal choice. Sometimes we are in a bind where we just need that new opportunity to pay our bills or bail ourselves out of a terrible situation. And on the flip side, some people thrive in consistent code switching. If either of those situations resonates with you, then more power to you. Do what you have to do. But remember, all of our names have power and are often the first way that people show us respect. If people use your name to discriminate against you and force you to use a socially acceptable name, they'll ultimately never fully respect you. Thanks for tapping in with me today. Don't forget, I'm now taking submissions from you all on career questions, issues, concerns, or advice you think may help others. So make sure to submit yours at bit.ly/tapintristan. This tip was brought to you by Tristan of Layfield Resume Consulting. Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Layfield Resume, or connect with me, Tristan Layfield, on LinkedIn.